Wednesday. So
Okay, it's 5:30, trying to call on good work.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. You've had a chance to look at the consent agenda. Anything you would like to have removed from the consent agenda, please?
No.
Neither do I. Special activities, we have electric aggregation discussion with Rick Silver. Rick, come on up.
Good evening. Good to see you again already so fast.
Good to see you.
So when I was here a couple weeks ago, I said obviously we were going to look at aggregation prices, kind of see where they shake out, and come back with a proposal on where things are. I also hinted at that time that prices are ugly, and we know that. So I think for right now, let me talk a little bit about strategy on how to handle that. But I think those that are under the Duke Energy Ohio footprint, I think we just want to send those back to Duke, regardless of what happens with the market. We'll wait to see what happens with the utility rates. They'll get filed sometime in the next couple of weeks, but still with expecting them around 6 to 6.5. That's a reasonable number from like where the market is right now, and where their current rates are at about 5.5. Again, that increases, you can stomach it compared to some of the other stuff. So based on what I'm seeing from the market and stuff we got back from multiple suppliers, nowhere close. I think at this point, we'll probably just want to send the Duke accounts back at the end. So now with AES, it's a little bit of a different story. I'm not sure if you guys have seen yet. I know there was a story in the Dayton Daily News. I kind of hinted about it when I was here to kind of jump. It did come in a little bit lower than what I expected, but the rates for we'll call it homes that are not all electric, are going to go up to about 11 cents, so 10.9 cents. So that would be all year round from June of this year till May of next year for the supply. Those that are all electric, so this would be from November through May when they pay the winter rates, they'll go from 4.1 to 9.2. So it's a significant jump. Right? In most cases, that's it's about a 100% jump for the non-all-electric homes, and about a 91% jump for the all-electric homes as far as that increase in the rates. So I reached out to Mr. Clark last week and asked, again, the prices I'm seeing coming back from the RFPs, they're high as well. And so a 12-month was roughly 12 cents, and this was last week, so then the prices have come up a little bit. It was about 10.5 cents on the 24-month and about 9.2 cents for a 33-month. We've got about a month before having to do anything. So what I said to Mr. Clark was, do we consider if over the next month kind of watching the price and see if there's something reasonable. Obviously that jump from 5 cents to 11 cents, that's a significant amount of money that people will pay over the next several amount of months. So if we can find a rate that says, cuts the difference, right? So my concern, and you brought it up last time about, because we waited 3 years, right? It took the third year to get that, and kind of hit on that too. I expect that the average home was going to save about $85 a month, June, July, and August of this year. So that's obviously really good. But it's like, do we take the fact that the first year's here, second year's here, try to blend those just to soften the blow? So where obviously you always try to do it from a savings perspective, do we potentially look at the aggregation to soften the blow? Again, we could find a price that's reasonable that people don't go from 5 to 11. Can we get to 5 to 9, or again cut it in half? That does put us at risk for year 2 of again it being above AES's standard service offer, but at least sort of year over year would be fixed. So again, that was something that I brought to Mr. Clark. He said, well, why don't you come here and obviously talk to the board about that. If we can find a rate to just, again, maybe try to give some relief for people instead of seeing their bills rise by, $60 or $70 a month for the next, I guess they'll be from September through next May, which for those all-electric homes, that's big money.
So you were leaning towards a recommendation of doing a 2-year, 24-month offering for AES and letting Duke go back to retail?
Yeah. So my suggestion, again, we'll send you back, would be that, maybe we consider setting some sort of at or below, right? Like I said, we've got about a month before something has to happen, so we set some sort of at or below, and we'll continue to watch the market. Really, at that point, whatever we decide to set that at, but that would then, give Mr. Clark the ability to transact when we can, because the market moved down 12% today. I mean, it's unheard of for this thing to move up and down as much as it has. So if we had to schedule it around meetings, obviously that gets to be a little bit tough, right? Because then we're trying to set a set day on when a price has to, be done. Whereas obviously, if we have 4 weeks to do that, and then if we get to whatever that number is, I would call Ms. Clark and say, we're there, right? We're there, we're better than that. I think, now's the time to go. So that's, again, why I came here tonight to sort of throw that suggestion out there, that maybe something to look at. Again, setting it at or below. If we get there, great. If we don't, then, we know that as well, and we send the AES customers back, just like we would for you. That was sort of
You have an at or below number that you're thinking about?
I mean, I think the number, again, is probably somewhere around 9 cents, right? I think that's the only number that I think is reasonable to, again, kind of cut that difference, as well as, we'll be exposed for year 2, but I think, again, that, that kind of keeps us reasonable there. I don't think it goes back down to 5, where it was, so, I mean, some of the things I did see for next year were around, 7.5, for just next year alone, if you kind of broke into 2 parts. So again, it's higher, but at least it's flat year over year. I think anything much lower than that in the next 4 weeks we're not going to get there. We still have time on our side, and I think anything higher than that just doesn't make sense, right? To kind of keep the program going when they're going to pay high prices anyway. So.
Well, I think all we do is look at the at or below, see what happens in the next month.
It's the conversation I've had with a number of different people that have called today and last week, particularly today after the news story broke over the weekend, how they address customers. But I said, if you're not with the township's program right now, look at your rate. And, if you're above 4.95, you could realize a couple of months of savings. I said, it's grim.
Right. No, I thought you'd get too much.
Well, that's like even the PUCO, I saw it out there before coming here. I mean, the lowest rate, so I looked at anything that was 12 months or longer, because an aggregation has to be at least 12 months. The lowest rate was 31 months at $8.99. The next cheapest was $9.99, and then everything north of that is 10. So, yeah. Not the news that I'd like to say is very different than 3 years ago when I was here, when it's like, 5 cents, that's fantastic.
3 years ago, gas was $1.75.
And I guess kind of along those same lines, as a sort of pivot a little bit, is natural gas. You guys are not currently certified to do natural gas, but maybe something to consider for the November election. Just at that point, then you have options, right? Doesn't mean you have to do anything. We have multiple communities that are certified for both commodities, and we do one, not the other. But just the ones who either don't have certification at all, we've been saying you might as well go out and get it, even though it wouldn't be in play until next spring. Because again, if things don't improve, you probably want at least the option to consider something for the winter of 23 to 24 at that point. And I think we have a few communities who currently don't have a gas program but are certified, that we think that they will move forward this upcoming winter, again, just to try to offer some stability to residents. Who knows what's going to happen. So sort of the second consideration that I wanted to bring tonight.
How many gas suppliers do we have? I think there's at least 2. Is there not in the township, or do you know?
Well, so you saying like for the utility?
Yeah.
Well, so I would assume it's Duke, and then I believe you have some in Center Point, which used to be Vectren as well.
Correct.
I don't know that split, because Vectren won't give us data unless you are certified, so I don't have as much transparency to that as I do with the AES Duke split.
I do know Vectren's here, because that's who's going to serve the new buildings up the hill.
that's who I have. Center Point. Yeah.
This seems, from what we've seen, this seems to be about the cutoff, you know, pretty much here in Spring Road, however they just decide to finagle the line. This seems to be about the split of where South Pier is predominantly
Probably
skewed.
pretty close to the AES Duke split.
Mhm.
Not to belabor the point, but if this is something the board is seriously considering for November, getting it on the ballot, we have to get busy.
Right, right.
Advertising it,
Right.
getting it certified to the board.
We're up against it right now in that regard, aren't we?
Yeah, I think you have till August, I think August 8th
Yeah,
or
but you
9th.
gotta
You have to
be-
advertise prior to it, and
Yeah.
you have to pass legislation that takes a while to be effective and get it down the county.
And that's, and some of that stuff we could help you out with too, I believe we help you with the electric.
As hard as 9 cents is to choke down, I've done my own research and I don't see it. I mean, no. The 2 years makes more sense to me than 3, obviously. But, man,
The part that concerns me about the 3-year, years 2 and 3 are pretty close, so yeah, it lowers the price a little bit. But my concern is we're trying to do this for a little bit of stability and softening the blow up front. If we go that 3rd year, I think we're hanging out for too long. If the market does come back at
Right,
all,
right.
then, you know, I'm standing here again saying, hey, we made that move where the 2-year, you know, feels like we understand what we're getting into, that may be higher year 2, but do our best to help people in year 1.
And the best 12-month was what?
The 12-month, at least as of yesterday, let's call it about 10 cents. So it's got to come down, you know, a fair amount in the next month.
Came down 12% today.
They move a lot quickly. That's why, again,
There's a lot of fear right now that the Fed is going to screw this up and force a recession.
yeah, I mean, I think the big reason it came off today is they were thinking it was going to be pretty hot this week, and I think when the market when it closed on Friday, it was concerned about the heat with it, which is the heat's going to happen, but then the weather for next week and the week beyond has now cooled down. So now that it's sort of showing, okay, we may get into June and not be hot across Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, and the big load centers. The market said, all right, that's going to mean we're going to not go right from winter to summer in a week.
Okay, so you'll be back to us in about a month, or maybe before.
We need to
then.
make a decision on the...
Yeah, right, so my suggestion would be to consider passing something, so that we can move.
I'll make a motion to set the ceiling at 9 cents.
Second.
Mr. Meek, or Mr. Gabbard?
Yeah.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Fair try. Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll bring the appropriate legislation.
Okay, next on the agenda is public comments. Everybody have some public comments? If you do, just come up to the podium and state your name and tell us what you'd like to talk about.
I'm good.
Okay. Hearing none, there's no public comments. And moving on to, Peter, you gonna come up?
Folks, were you coming in to talk about the electric? Give me my card.
Wondered about that either.
Were you guys coming in to learn about the electric aggregation?
Well, nothing's changed.
That was changed.
Just a second.
Well, you had it covered here. You got an easy.
Yeah, no, I'm-
Dirty, clean.
Right. Yeah, no, I know.
Well, you're not. I don't know how in the world you ever got it out of the flood,
Never got out of what?
out of the flood zone.
You know, we don't do
You guys
that.
live in Duke or AES.
That's not what we do.
Yeah, you got it.
Or electric, or
Duke.
Out there, you're the next year.
That's my grandfather there, so.
We don't.
Well, he comes down Lebanon, right?
You are.
Nothing to do with us. We have nothing to do with us. We
Yeah.
have no authority over setting flood zones and flood areas. We don't do that. Actually, the county doesn't do that either.
In other words, you just want to wash me off.
Well, it's not gonna change.
It's not going to change. Well, I guess that'll be, that's all I know to do.
That's all I know for you to do too. That's what you should do.
I've requested a copy of the last,
Yeah, we haven't approved them yet, sure. You have to, they're gonna approve them at this meeting, and then as soon as they approve them, then I can give you the minutes. As soon as they vote on them later today, I'll get you a copy, okay?
Okay, Pete, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to new business. Administration.
Could do fiscal officer.
No, fiscal office, we don't want to forget Russ.
We don't want to forget Russ, even though he was here.
Usually I say, the only thing I've got for today is to remind you that we're getting ready to do the tax budgets, for the next month, so if there's any special projects you guys feel froggy about, please let Matt or I know.
Just the back door. I'm sure how many different ways. If I shoot it with a bullet, I bet the police will respond, so we'll get there.
One way or the other. All right, that's all I had, sir. That's it.
Okay. New business administration.
Okay, so resolution 5369 is simply some housekeeping. We're revisiting the spending authority that we changed in 2019 with the police department's new position of lieutenant and Tony's title change to park superintendent. Establishing the spending authority for the police lieutenant and raising Tony's spending authority for that of equivalent of assistant chiefs and police lieutenant from the fire and police respectively. If you have any questions, go ahead and answer.
I do not. Jason, do you have any? Is there a motion to approve 5369?
So,
Dispense with the second reading. Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yea.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else?
No, not this time.
And we have the police department. Recommendation to accept the $1,000 donation from Rocco Serio?
Don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
We just call him Rocco.
And Mark Munier, benefit safety tab.
Rocco and Mark have become consistent donors to the Safety Town program.
Great job.
Again, this year they came in with a $1,000 check towards Safety Town, so I'd ask the board to accept that and thank them for that generous offer.
So motion to accept this donation.
so moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And also a recommendation to accept a generous donation of $500 from Pat Foley, Simpkins Foley Insurance, to benefit Safety Town also.
Same thing, Simpson Foley Insurance has become a consistent donor to the Safety Town program, and Pat dropped off a check last Friday for $500, so I'd ask the board to accept that.
So motion to accept this donation.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else, Chief?
No.
Planning and zoning. All part of the consent agenda.
Does you have any questions?
Road and Parks.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Fire District.
Just one thing to thank the road department for their work. They dug out the ditch at 23, so we had some serious flooding issues when the water comes off that field. Ryan and his crew went out there and dug the ditch. It's working as well as it can. And then we had an apron problem at Station 22, and they came out to fix the apron for the cost of asphalt. So it cost us quite a bit of money, so they were able to save some
Good deal.
time. And much appreciated the cooperation.
How deep do you have to go out there to fix that?
We dug that one out. It was flood.
I just assumed we were gonna try to do an ice rink in the wintertime and try to charge for it. Every time I went by there, I'm like,
We're at 23?
yeah,
Oh, I know.
It's better.
it's,
It's as good as it can be.
Performing at its maximum potential.
It is as good as it can be.
Strength's not there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Make extra money.
we might,
Well,
we
you
might
can get
fully
EMS calls for
utilize it.
injuries and.
Yeah.
It's a short trip anyway.
I was gonna say, they're right there, that's not that hard.
years ago, I gotta tell this story, between the old, Ben Franklin store and the old post office, we tried to build an ice rink in there. The JCs did. We had construction, Don Tinkle was involved, we had a bunch of people in there, and we built an ice rink, filled it up with water, it broke and flooded the post office. It was hilarious.
So you went to the haunted house after that, I guess?
Yeah, yeah, it was hilarious. Anyway, Chenault was there, and you can imagine the,
Language?
his kind of,
It was epic,
Yeah,
yes.
it was epic. Okay, anything else under new business? Okay, consent agenda. We've had a chance to take a look at this. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Staff updates.
Well, Mr. Wade,
You're gonna have to second that.
well, you have to second, thank you.
Second.
Mr., whatever your name is down there at the end of the thing.
The big one.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. Okay, now staff updates.
We would have brought forward a resolution to pay our lease obligation to the Port Authority for our ground lease for the building this meeting, but we needed to pass this emergency and it's due June 1st, so we'll do that second June, which is FYI.
When is our second meeting? Is it the 24th?
23rd.
Third, okay. I got my weeks all jumbled up, so okay. Yeah, I'll just make sure it wasn't Memorial Day.
No.
He might be in it.
We're gonna be back because Lydia's playing state cup soccer, but yeah, we will be coming back from Indy. Unless it rains in Indy, then we'll stay in Indy.
23rd.
I'll stay, at least Mom may come back.
If there is a schedule conflict that develops, we are still allowed to do virtual meetings until July 1st.
Yeah, do you want to change?
June's virtual.
Oh, no. Been nice to know before.
You guys have anything?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Howdy.
Hello. Just in the nick of time. We're about ready to adjourn, so if you have something you'd like to do, come on.
go too fast.
We're efficient.
We're efficient.
Hyper efficient.
There's not very many layers of fluff around here. That's how we keep it simple.
If you would just, state
Well, I'm
your,
full of fluff.
state your name and,
I'm not even touching that one, but go ahead.
Craig Solomon Gilmore, 8066 Country Brook Court. I don't know if you guys are aware or not, and if you're not, then you've been living under a rock. Right? So what I've been asking for the city and for Clear Creek Township is funding for the Juneteenth event. Juneteenth is going to be held on this Juneteenth on the 18th, okay? But officially Juneteenth is always recognized on the June 19th, okay? But for purposes of planning here in Springboro and Clear Creek Township, we're going to recognize that on the third Saturday in June every year, as long as I'm alive doing Juneteenth and helping organize that. So what Juneteenth does is really bringing together multiple communities. Clear Creek Township, this year we've incorporated Lebanon into that, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. I won't take too long, I know you guys are ready to get out of here.
Okay.
So we get Franklin, we have Waynesville folks that come in, we have some folks that come in from Centerville. The 3-on-3 basketball tournament is really the nexus of bringing folks in. So the 3-on-3 basketball tournament, what that does is that brings folks that don't look like you, may look like me, maybe from different cultures, but they all play basketball, everyone plays basketball. And the purpose of that is to get people together, to rub elbows, to compete, and then they realize that, you know what, underneath it all, we're all the same. That's the bottom line. And so, yes, this is a black event, but it is not for black only. I want to make that clear on the record, okay? Because we had some confusion last year, some folks saying, was this, am I welcome to this, is this a black thing? Well, it founded on, 1865, when the Emancipation Proclamation, 2 years afterwards, those slaves in Galveston were told that they were free, right? And so the Emancipation Proclamation was 1863, and so they had 2 additional years of free labor on them. So, and here in Springboro, we have such a rich history with the Underground Railroad. So what we've done is we have the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We have the blood drive on Friday. We have a professional development component that we're doing on Friday as well that runs from 9 until 3. And then Friday evening, we have a fundraising dinner that is going to be at Springboro United Church of Christ in the back there. Tickets are available. They're $100 per person at the fundraising dinner. Some of those proceeds will go towards supporting the Historical Society Museum. And then we also have on Saturday morning a bicycle ride. This is where Lebanon is being brought into this, and why I'm here tonight is the bicycle ride will start at the museum in Springboro and go all the way down to the Harmon Museum in Lebanon and then back. And so that incorporates, which I did not know at the time of the formation of this, is that it's 3 police districts, there's 3 areas, right? Coordinating 2 is difficult in and of itself. Coordinating 3 has posed a bigger challenge. And where the challenge is really right there at that 122 in Springboro Road and 122 in Park Road. So what I've asked Chief is for police presence there. Unfortunately, there is a cost associated with that. And because this is also a fundraising event, that bicycle ride of bringing Lebanon into the fold of the Juneteenth event, that puts an additional burden on us. So what we're asking for is that the township would consider offsetting that cost. And if not offsetting that cost, sponsoring the event. And looking at the demographics, I think there's 34,000 residents here in the Clear Creek Township and 18,000 in Springboro. And then I don't know what the data is in Lebanon, but clearly we have a lot of folks that are going to be coming from Clear Creek Township attending the Juneteenth event. The biggest part of Juneteenth is going to be at North Park from 12 p.m. until 9 p.m. We have food trucks, we have bands that will be playing. We have 7 bands all lined up, R&B, and then we have vendors that are going to be there. So there's no doubt in my mind that folks will be there all day long, from Springboro, from Clear Creek Township, from Lebanon, from Miamisburg, from Franklin, from Waynesville. In addition, Waynesville is having some sort of event on Saturday as well, but those folks will also migrate up into North Park. So again, just asking for funding consideration for the police presence, and I believe that was going to be about $400, if I'm not mistaken, for the 3 to 4 hours at $50 per man hour, and or sponsoring the event. That's my ask.
So, I'm clear. Wouldn't that also involve the Warren County Sheriff's Department based on the fact that it would be in Turtle Creek before it gets to Lebanon?
Yeah, there'd actually be 4 jurisdictions, the
Yeah,
sheriff's department.
I just wanted to get out in front of that for Craig, because I know that we don't go straight into Lebanon, so,
Yeah, we'd had some discussions about this on the phone the other day, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the other gentleman's name, was it Rick?
No, that was Tony. Tony Sister, yes.
All right, sorry. We offered speed signs with the language on it about what was going on, but the issue that we kind of had was this is open to all ages and all levels of riding. So you could be talking about 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, whatever, riding Springboro Road, 122, Hart Road, and all that, and our roadways are high speed on a 122, culverts on each side, so there was some concern from our standpoint about safety issues and so forth. When we got into the manpower, they focused on that double intersection as having an ability to help get the people across those intersections. I spoke to Chief Krytoff. The way they operate events down there is they usually staff a little bit more people, and then they disperse them where they need. The bike ride would only begin there and end right there, so their involvement is not, it's a bit of time to get them going and a bit of time to receive them back. Our guys and gals would be expected to be out there, I think it was 8 to 12, is it?
Yeah.
So, you know, get there a half hour early, half hour breaking the signs down, getting them back here, you know, you're talking about a 5-hour day or so to have police officers out there manning those two intersections. And they had asked for a like-kind donation or the officers to volunteer. I was not agreeable to the volunteering part because you get a policeman out there gets hit on the roadway.
Yeah, we can't
They
do
got
that.
comp issues, they got family issues, on and on and on. So, if we put an officer at each intersection also, it's the going rate, the FOP sets that rate, because it's an off-duty detail, that's $52 an hour, so, times however many officers, times how much time they're out there, so we had some concern over the age group, that was gonna be participating in it, getting them through all those jurisdictions and then back, and then, you know, if people fall off, how are they gonna be picked up? You know, then going back into the EMS issue, if somebody gets hurt out there someplace, is that being covered along the way? So, the other issues is, we just had a triathlon Sunday morning, and those people had to pay for police services at the circle, at the roundabout, to help with that. So, you know, we can't man each shift with enough people to handle special events all the time. So, you know, we have 3, maybe 2 to 3 officers on at a time, every once in a while 4. You know, we can man it for a period of time, but as soon as we get a call, we gotta leave. So it's really better to have that dedicated person there to try to assist with that. So those are some of the complications we were trying to weed through. They had asked for a donation or whatever, and I said, well, you probably need to talk to trustees or Mr. Clark about this, where that's headed, so that's how we ended up here tonight. And like I said, we charge for all of their events.
Right.
I don't know how you want to open the door for that or not open the door for that. And we just charged for 4 police officers Sunday for 4 hours or so to the YMCA for their triathlon they do every Mother's Day. And previous other events we do too. So a little concerned about the safety issue of it, age group wise, not in level of experience wise, and then how you all desire to handle any monetary issue relative to trying to put some people there, because I'm just not going to have people on the street that could dedicate 4.5, 5 hours to just standing there away from other calls.
Understood. So Craig, have you, and I'm not trying to question how you're running it, but have you thought about the younger rider issue and how that is impacted to the bigger picture?
So I don't really see 7, 8, 9-year-olds riding that distance, because it's 25 miles. But there is a bailout, a turnaround, which is right there at the 122 at Springboro. So where Springboro dead ends, well, tees into 122, that's where they can turn around and come back. But, you know, if there is a younger child that's riding, they won't be riding alone, they'll be with it.
Sure, no, I get that, I just...
The other safety
Brings
part...
out the time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's more of a time issue than, if you look at...
They're not gonna ride the same speed as a 15-year-old.
We've had other events. Danishek had one year at the haunted hayride. I live on Springboro Road, so I'm very familiar with bike riding in Springboro Road, all too familiar. And I've seen a lot of bad things happen, and it scares me to death that people ride on that road, just from my perspective as a citizen living there. There's nowhere to go. If they press the hill right in front of my house, I've seen guys get hit head on because the car's left us, whatever it is. So that's something that we have to defer to them on. I guess I'm questioning whether, are those the only 2 intersections you would need help? Because Pekin and Springboro Road's a 4-way stop, but it's very busy.
Yeah, that's the only spot that I would...
I'm going to defer to him, no offense, but...
There's no way we can cover this whole course going through the town.
No, I get it.
You know, it's going to be right at your own risk. You know, the focus became from them as far as the 122 crossover as to putting police presence there. And the rest of it, we could attempt to use officers that are on patrol to assist with that unless there's a call, you know, get an accident, somebody's tied up for an hour. And you're gonna have different paces, you're gonna have,
Am I to assume that you're gonna go down and come out Lower Springboro, down RL 5 and out?
RL 5.
Red line 5,
Yeah.
come on, man, you're liable now.
I know.
You gotta get
I'm
better.
gonna have my head on that one,
Come on.
okay. But yes, so we'll come out East Street, turn left on Lower Springboro, right on Red Lion, RL 5, cross the bridge, turn left on Springboro, take that around the curve, going straight down.
And we would pick them up at the stop sign at Springboro Road and RL 5, right? Or would we pick them up at the RL 5 and lower?
if we use their plan that they requested, we would have an officer at Hart and an officer at Springboro.
No, but I'm saying as far as a jurisdiction,
Yeah.
they would then be in the township at the corner of,
It'd be in the township, the Franklin Township with the sheriff's departments.
no. You lost me.
Okay,
If they come out lower,
yeah.
are we covering that stretch of Red Line 5 right there? Or is that the city? Do they police that, or do we?
And when you
Do
turn
we-
right on Red Line 5 point, we take that over.
Yeah, there's some mix in there.
That's the county road.
It's a county road, but I'm trying to figure out whose jurisdiction it is.
Right, it's us.
Okay, so we pick them up at the stop sign of Red Line 5 and lower,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, I'm
another,
sorry, you're right, okay.
yeah, which is another concern that I would have.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an aggressive course.
You know, that Lebanon, he's talked to Lebanon, the captain, the detail officer, has expressed concern to us and his city about the safety issues also, as they're trying to plan for the acceptance on their end of receiving everybody. You know, I think they've got some bike lanes to help out down there, but, I have got some talk to Captain McCutcheon.
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
Captain McCutcheon, about that, but they're concerned about the safety issues on an email that he had sent to Wally, about that. I've got a call in for him to call me to see what they're gonna do on their end from that standpoint, but just trying to coordinate all the way through, but, you know, there's gonna be that gap between us and Lebanon also, that's strictly the sheriff's department.
That's our road down to Kirby and over.
Yeah, that's a new wrench.
And that's another dangerous stretch of road. I mean,
Down hard.
yeah, I drive that all the time for soccer,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
It's very, very similar to Springboro, and it's,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I cycle those roads despite my size. I cycle those roads. You know, and it's, for the
I've
most...
not seen you land in my front yard, but I have seen other people land in my front yard.
I've ridden by your...
I know.
You know, and it is a tight road.
Yeah.
I will admit to that, but it is, you know, if we mark it as planned, you know, I think that folks will, and then we'll also have a side vehicle that's, for lack of a better word, patrolling that space. So if we do have somebody that gets a flat tire, or someone pulls them up so that they're exhausted, we can pick them up. We'll have a pickup truck for that. You know, the biggest concern is not really Pekin and Springboro to me, because bikers have to obey the same traffic laws. I say that, and now I'm gonna run a stop sign.
I was gonna say, let me know when that starts. I don't mean to sound facetious or fickle or whatever about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's,
So, you know,
you're right, they're supposed to.
they're supposed to
Absolutely,
stop
you're
at the
right.
stop sign, you know, and then, proceed. If they don't stop at the stop sign, you know, they're at risk of getting a ticket or hit. So I get that, but where it's really the highest risk point is that 122 Hart, 122 Springboro. Because I've ridden that before, and it's tight.
Yeah.
You know, and with a tractor trailer coming up on you.
No, that's-
You know, I've had them slow down, plus we have the refinery that you turn in right there.
You ought to just do it inside there, they're not using it for anything else, so. I'm not joking, there's a lot of roads in that thing that, they don't use those anymore. They don't use
Really?
those tanks anymore. So, I mean, we obviously have to defer to our safety group when it comes to this stuff.
I think we need to get the sheriff's department involved.
Yeah, because if everybody's not on board, it's not gonna work.
See, if they're
From
going-
our end, I
if they're
mean-
going to do anything to step up, to fill in that void.
I don't have a problem offsetting, personally, offsetting that fee. You know, we're talking $550. My concern is, I mean, I drive that road every day, and I have for my entire driving life, and even before, truth be known. And that intersection of Springville Road and 122 is horrible.
Yeah.
And Hart Road, if you're not paying attention, is just as bad. So, I get it, you've gotta go over that road somewhere to get to Lebanon. You know, it's not a contiguous intersection by any means, between the two roads, so.
Yeah, you know, my other option, which was a longer route, was going out Lytle 5 Points, going straight out Spring Road and ultimately getting over to Lytle and going out the town of Lytle, out into Waynesville, down into Waynesville, into Corwin, and get on the bike trail there, take the bike trail down to Countryside and then back up. But if you've ever seen that Countryside hill,
Yeah.
coming up from the bike trail, you know, I would walk it up, you know, instead of trying to ride the bike up if I'm not in training. And I'm not in training condition until really August, September. So that was out of the question. Plus we added on another 25 miles to the route. And so folks would...
So you're looking at, the people that you're looking to do this are gonna be not competitive riders, but experienced riders.
Experience. This is not a race. If it was a race, it would be even more challenging.
Sure.
It would be even more, this is really just a community event, you know, to bring both communities together, to capitalize on their historic impact on the Underground Railroad in history and ours, and just to bring the communities together. So the long-term vision for this is that, you know, Springboro becomes a destination spot. Our area becomes a destination for Juneteenth, all things Juneteenth, because we're really, and you're gonna hear this again next week. If you come to the mayor's diversity meeting, you'll hear it again next week. You know, it's really where we're situated, perfectly located, between Cincinnati and Dayton, and also Columbus. We have the most Underground Railroad spots here in the area. So folks that come here, and you know, we have this, Lebanon has that same weekend, they have a baseball tournament. Folks are coming in from all over the East Coast to go to that new park that they have down across from...
Warren County.
Yeah. Sports Park. Folks are coming in. Those are the people that I'm worried about.
I would be.
Those are the people that I'm worried about. It's not our locals. It's the people that don't know where they're going, trying to find a park in their lodge. So, again, so the folks come in, Johnny's playing baseball, you know, his sister's here, mom is here, and they want to go do something else, they can come up to Juneteenth and see what's going on. Folks come here, they do the Underground Railroad tours, they do the professional development, they do the blood drive, you know, cyclists, they come here. We have the most paved roads of any state in the country. So cyclists, we want to come here and ride. So there's always something to do. And folks that, you know, they can also leave from here and go up to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. They can go do some other additional tours in Dayton, see what Dayton is doing with their riverfront when that is all developed. But if we get ahead of it, you know, it can really impact us from an economic impact we can.
Understood.
Well, we need to talk about, get some ideas from the chief. And you put a call in already, I think you said, to the sheriff's office.
If you're going to supply the funding for it, I think probably my next step would be probably get with you, sir, and round up somebody from each department, and let's just have a meeting maybe here, and show them the map of your route, and then let everybody kind of be aware of that route it's going to be, so the emergency services will know this stuff's going on. to give you a call tomorrow back. I haven't talked to you back in the sheriff's department about it yet, because everyone wasn't sure what all the plan was. So if you're gonna fund it, then my next step would probably be to get those groups together, and let's have a quick meeting just to let everybody know.
And they may have some thoughts about the route. I would almost guarantee you they will.
We don't have any problems, at least, I'm not the leader of that committee. So I'm over all of the committees, and so I kind of have, understand what's going on, and I try and knit it all together. So I shouldn't speak on their behalf, but I think that they would not be opposed to any adjustments in the route. But I don't really see, because Lebanon came up with that route. They gave us 3 options on the routes connecting Springboro and Lebanon. One of them crossed 42, and I'm like, no, that's not going to work, going across, I think, half the way to Utica, where they will have a roundabout down there going across, and I said, that's not going to work. That's even more risky. So this was the best one and most direct.
So Tony's the lead on that then?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess Sergeant Bay's contact him.
Yeah.
And set that meeting up.
Yeah, Tony is the lead Springboro representative. Ray Kimberlin is the lead Lebanon representative. So they both are working together on that. Okay. But if you want to loop me in and I get them together, that's fine. My schedule, I work from home most times, so I'm pretty flexible.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional questions, gentlemen?
We'll give it some serious thought about it and look at where we can come up with the money. We ought to. If we're really looking at being achieved right, somewhere under $750 to staff.
Yeah, if it's 5 hours, 2 officers, $52 an hour, so, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You'll have more to tell us.
We'll just have the longest portion of this whole thing, because we're kind of in the middle. So by the time we ride through, and then whoever decides to ride back, we're sitting for all that time, whereas Springboro just gets to release them and accept them back at the end. And then Lebanon gets to release them, and I don't even know if they're gonna escort them back out or what they're gonna do, because those people may filter back down through after they do what you said, some of them may even stay down there. So, we'll catch the heavy load in the middle of 4 or 5 hours of being out there, concentrated at those 2 intersections.
Yeah. And this is the first time that we're doing it, so. Can't take my wife's phone.
Do that at your own risk.
I know, right? That's why I looked at you, because I know we're in the same boat. Where was I? So this is the inaugural ride, and we may need to adapt. For the second year, maybe even looking at some other options. Maybe a Sunday morning, and do that longer ride and have that as opposed to trying to do that on the Saturday. But again, this is, there's so much available for everyone in our communities and outside of our communities. And it's really to show that this is where you want to be. Okay? So thank you all for
The only
your
thing I
time.
would caution the board on is every event.
No, I know, I just don't sit there thinking.
Well, and
Like,
so-
open this up.
The YMCA just paid for a policeman to be out there for 45 hours Sunday, so I'm sure next year at Mother's Day, they're gonna say, wait a minute.
Right.
So,
Well, we'll give
so
it-
to that point, I mean, the city of Springboro has donated in cash as well as in-kind services. So you may want to talk with your counterparts there with Chris Kazuda and see how he did that, because it was a similar concern, But
They've got a lot more money than we do, that's the other piece of the puzzle. We run leaner.
okay,
We run a lot leaner.
I
Believe me.
know. But it may just be a lump sum donation, sponsorship, and that amount of money is how we would use that. And it is a 501c3 organization, and that's through Parents Empowering All Children of Color, and the Warren County Foundation. So if you made an in-kind or a donation to the Warren County Foundation, earmark that for Juneteenth, that would be your contribution as opposed to a specific, and then what I would do with our treasurer is take that money out of there and flip that over.
You guys have liability coverage for it too, in case something needs to happen?
Yes. Yep, and they'll be signing waivers. We have waivers for the basketball tournament, we have waivers for the performers on stage, we have waivers for the cyclists.
How many do you think you're gonna get?
Right now, we have 8 registered.
Okay.
So, you know, the number that I would throw out there is really 50 at max. Because if you get bigger than that, that peloton, that bunching stretches out really long.
Right.
Even more than 25, it stretches out really long. And to your concern, I'd like for them to, everyone cross within a 45-minute window or a 30-minute window crossing 122. That way, your officers are not having to be on guard and alert all the time. And then, you know, we communicate either by text or by walkie-talkie and say, riders are approaching, lead rider, and letting you know that officers need to be on alert. As far as EMS is concerned, haven't worked that piece out yet, but that's a Tony and Ray piece. I think that having a bus, an ambulance, at the parking lot at the Historical Society Museum, just being there is sufficient. And if there's a call, they can take off from there. But that's my opinion, that's not my area of expertise.
I talked to Tony on Friday and had a few questions for me, he's gonna try to get answers for me and get back to me.
Good. See, I don't know everything. And I admit that, you know, so I bring other people that are much smarter than me, I invite them to the table to help them. And that's how we've been able to get this thing off the ground.
Okay.
All right? Thank you, gentlemen.
We will certainly
Thanks, Frank.
give some consideration here
Thanks.
to figure out if this is what we can do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Have a good evening.
I will. I'm
Call your wife back.
Yeah.
off to my next meeting.
And then you certainly better call your wife.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Take care.
Have a great night, gentlemen. Thank you.
So we're really looking at $300.
600.
Well, it's 5 hours for 250, you're talking about $500-600 for
To eliminate our problem with this, I'd donate $300, take the tax
You
write-off.
know, you did this to me before.
Did I?
Yeah. In fact, you did it one time I wasn't even here.
Ooh, that was good.
And I came back to find out I had been part of an agreement to donate,
What was that for? I can't recall it.
I don't know, but it was $150.
I remember that too, but I don't remember what it was for.
Yeah. Linda and you agreed that it was a good idea for the 4 of us.
I agree.
You agree with
I'll give
Linda?
$100 for it.
Oh, he is the boss.
I'll do 150 if we split it 4 ways. And then it doesn't go through the
I'll do
township.
150 if what it takes.
Okay.
Yeah, just get out from underneath this, yes, sir.
I hate to open it up to every,
That's what I'm
like the
afraid of,
lottery,
too.
just for example, you know.
Well, and not only that, but is there a liability for us to fund this, and then somebody gets hurt?
Oh, yes, there's a liability.
So,
And I
Well, the original call was to ask us to bless it, and I said, I'm not blessing a bike ride. You can ride your bikes and follow appropriate traffic laws. I'm not gonna bless it. We'll try to police it.
There's exposure.
and that's why I said, I would guess that there's gonna be a lot of discussion about the route. And I think there should be.
And last week, it was 100 people, and they apparently downgraded that to 50 now. So last week, it was a much bigger event than we said today, so.
Yeah, I'm in for 150.
Okay, me too. We'll see if we can get
Me
Steve
too.
to do. If Steve doesn't want to do it, I'll make up the difference. Fair enough.
Sure. As I said last meeting, you're the boss.
I don't like that. I hate to get that started.
No, and I do too. What I would submit is, this is different than anything else that we deal with. Because of the entities it involves, what it looks like, start to finish, what this is becoming as a,
Is it?
is it a national holiday yet? Yeah,
It's a national holiday?
it is.
Oh, yeah, sure, I remember that.
Yeah, so,
Our
I
community-
mean, there's different pieces to this puzzle. I mean, I was asked to be part of the 3-on-3 last year. This is always the week we take vacation. And it is again this year. So, I'll be in northern Michigan where my phone won't work, which I'm really, really excited about. On about 10 fronts, but, so yeah, I mean, I think it's just something that we have to.
So this thing's definitely, if it's a national holiday.
Yeah, it's gaining traction.
It's here to stay.
Craig is very, very tenacious about when he gets his mindset to do something. We do want to send him an email with the updated population numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
He's mixed the two together.
He added them up instead of, yeah. If we got 35,000 people, we didn't make that building up the hill big enough,
No.
so.
For sure. No, I didn't want to stop you.
No.
Say you. It was silly. Okay.
So, yeah, we're good. I think that's probably the best route to make sense for all of it.
Seems to me like it is.
Yeah.
And whether it comes to fruition or not, that's,
Not that another year, we might have to do it different, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
we
you
go
got it.
at least we'll have a year of experience underneath our belt at that point too.
yeah, just let me know what I know. Try to put kids through college. I don't know.
In all honesty, though, the chief does a really good job of budgeting. He always takes into account special events, like trick or treat, and mandates staff to come in if at all possible. So it's something that we can plan for if we need to going forward. But again, my concern would be setting a precedent for any 501c3 or any other nonprofit that wished for police.
I agree.
Yeah, because the Y just paid over $1,000 for policemen for Sunday.
And we all pay members, we all pay to be members there. So, I mean, this has a little bit different taste to it.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't disagree with the idea that people are all gonna wanna come and get something for nothing. We're not gonna chop all that up 4 ways. We'll just let Ed pay for it. And put our names on it.
That's what Steve did.
Anyway, so yeah, let's, that gives you the freedom to be able to work a little bit more liberally with it. And I'd be really interested to see what the sheriff's office has to say about their portion of the show as well. Because that's a pretty long stretch too. That run on Hart Road, and then I'm assuming they're talking about making a left on Kirby and not trying to go down to 123 and in.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
I would hope.
Children, bet.
Or not Kirby, but,
Braintree?
no. The one that goes in front of the old high school. Miller.
Miller, yeah.
Miller that comes out at 48.
Right.
Because that's where the bike path picks up, right there.
A wonderful bike path, and then taking away all ability.
One-lane road
to
in front
drive
of fairgrounds.
One lane road into the fairgrounds and the downtown left.
And we got a firehouse too, right there where we try to get the livestock in.
Yeah, fabulous. How, you know, that, oh well.
You know, going from
They've always done such a
Springville
nice
to
job down
122, that's a pretty good haul for a 10-year-old.
No, I don't think that's gonna be an issue.
Well, they've advertised as all experience levels and any age group.
And that's fine. So my suggestion to you folks wearing badges would be, you can do that, but you're gonna make that, if it's 16 and under, they ride their bike down to Clear Creek and make a loop around the parking lot of Clear Creek and make a loop around the parking lot of SI and then come right back up. That's my thought. Because
I agree.
there's no way that,
Little kids should.
my 15-year-old daughter wouldn't make that, well, she could make that ride, but I wouldn't let her make that ride.
Yeah, I tried to express to them last week, talking on the phone, you're talking about having people bailing all the way from here to 122.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have.
A lot of them are gonna bail in front of my
I
house.
said, how you gonna pick these people up along the way, get them back with all these shuttles and
Yeah,
you put
it's
any
not.
planning in this?
Let's see how big the event ends up being.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I just-
the ride up of Springboro Road up my hill, it's usually enough for most people to throw in the towel.
I appreciate his enthusiasm about bringing all the people into Springboro,
Yeah.
I really do. But I don't see that big a crowd. They have a big crowd.
The basketball tournament was
Pretty well attended.
pretty well attended. I don't know if they've expanded, obviously, to have music and food trucks and things this year.
Where did they have the truck?
North Park, everything was at North Park.
Well, I know there's 3-on-3 tournaments, but they can be fun,
Yeah, and I mean, I know, well, Stacey Kemper played with Amy Cumley and Lindsey Justice. I mean, I know some of the girls that played that. They asked my wife to be the sub, and she laughed at it. She said, my playing days are over.
Get hurt.
And I told them, I said, I'll coach a team, but I'm not playing on one. And then I found out what it was. I'm like, no, we're gone.
Also Father's Day.
Yes, it is. My guess is that's why they're doing it on the Saturday instead of the Sunday. Yeah. I'm hoping that my wife's cooking the fish that I caught that day.
Probably.
We'll see. I've never cooked trout in my life, so we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, we need to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Do anybody have anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah.